My name is Emile Miller. I'm now a wheelchair rugby athlete and a world champion, part of the 2022 world champion Australian Steelers wheelchair rugby team. I began in swimming when I was younger, prior to my accident, and have transitioned through paracycling for about 10 years and have now been playing wheelchair rugby for 3 years. I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic, which means that I have limited function of my upper body and my hands and no function of my lower body. So I use a wheelchair to get around and I have limited sensation and feeling throughout my body. Yeah, so my schedule as an athlete, I do 5 training sessions a week. They're scattered across 3 court sessions and 2 gym sessions throughout the week. They range from about 1.5 hours to about 2.5 hours in length. So usually my day around my training sessions involves packing my bags, planning, making sure that I have all my equipment ready for my training session. I travel to the training session, so for me that might be an 1.5-hour drive down to Brisbane from the Sunshine Coast or to the local stadium here at the university, about 15 minutes away. So depending on the travel time, I'll need to leave a little bit earlier and get there to prepare all my equipment before training. Then we complete our training, do our warm-up, do our session that's programmed with my coach and my teammates for the afternoon. And then we travel home. And then after that, usually spend some time doing some recovery. That might be some compression gear or might be some contrast showers just to make sure that we've got the most out of the session. And also some food preparation to make sure that I've got stuff ready for the next day or have dinner meals after the training session as well. Yeah, so I work over at Sunshine Coast Grammar School as a swimming coach. I work there as part of the aquatic centre and we have around 180 kids in our program over there that we coach. So our program ranges from learn to swim right up to elite categorised athletes that we have within our program. So varying levels of squads and ages that we deal with every day. So we just run them through squad programs every afternoon, and it may involve going away with them on teams, might be taking them to carnivals and meets on the weekend as well, and just some admin hours around that as well, whether it be goal setting meetings or some education for them, some nutrition work, some planning sessions for them, some organising sessions for them so that they can get their school and their training organised and sorted for them. So lots to it, but yeah, that's it. So unfortunately, Paralympic sport doesn't pay as well as other professional high performance sports. So therefore, I need to work to be able to supplement my income. So it can be tough at times to try and balance the two, but unfortunately, it's a necessary evil to make sure that I can afford all the things that I need to in my life. You know, the everyday things that other people have, like rent and food and things like that. So unfortunately, in Paralympic sport, there's still that need to work, even for high performance athletes at the top of their game. I think the biggest barriers for athletes gaining employment as high performance athletes are particularly athletes with a disability. 2 things: the disability, and then on top of that, I think it's a bit of fear from the employer about what the commitment level is to high performance sports. So I think they know a lot of information about high performance sport and high performance athletes in an able-bodied sense and the commitment level that takes. But I think that there's a little bit of fear around disability or parasport and what the involvement level with that is. So I know I've had a few employers be a little bit concerned about, am I going to require additional time off because of my disability and what that takes for me to be able to do my sport on top of that. So I think it's just a little bit of fear and a little bit of a lack of knowledge, or I guess just employers being a little bit concerned or, feeling like they're a bit underprepared to be in a position to hire someone who is an elite athlete but also has a disability. Yeah, so I'm really fortunate over at Sunshine Coast Grammar School. They've gone above and beyond to be able to accommodate my training and my competition schedule. So the way that they've incorporated me into their organisation but still allowed for some flexibility is that they have contracted me for less hours than other coaches in our program, so that I have set number of days or sessions in a week that I show up and coach for. allowing me then 2 afternoons a week off to be able to go down to Brisbane and complete my training there. And my other hours for training I complete between my morning and afternoon shifts that I work at work. So the other side of that is that they have not contracted me for some hours for weekend work. So obviously as a swim coach, we work a lot on weekends in terms of going to swim meets and away for traveling and things like that. So they are just then casual hours that are then added on to my pay at the end of it. So I have that flexibility to then either have those hours there or not take that extra work on as required by whether I have competitions or training on. So yeah, they've been really flexible there, which has been great. So in terms of my workspace and the arrangements that I have there, obviously having someone with a disability in an organisation, there's a lot of barriers to employment through accessibility. So I'm pretty lucky that my employer, where I am currently, has gone out of their way to rearrange things for me. So, moving desk spaces, things like swipe cards for doors. They've actually put in a car park in the Swimming Aquatic Centre car park that is a disability car park for me, with my number plate actually registered there so that it's always available when I show up for work. Swipe cards instead of cyber keys, things like that, to be able to get into the building, and boom gates, things like that. So I think just around some accessibility things there, they've been fantastic. And then on top of that, just little things in the workplace around equipment, things like that. We have trolleys with all our equipment in them, and just like having them on wheels, things like that, so that I can drag them around and move them around pool deck as we need. Yeah, they all seem like little things, but they really add up over the duration of a shift. Things like that. It might only seem like a little thing to be able to open a door, or might only be a little thing to be able to access a desk space. But in terms of the practicality and the impact that has on your life when you're walking in and out of a door 10 times, or walking in and out of an area that you need to be accessing, it's definitely made a big difference in terms of the practicality and usability of my workspace. Really, not always something that you have to go above and beyond to think about. Sometimes they're really easy solutions that can be quite small but have a really big impact. So it doesn't need to be a big construction zone and we build this and build that. It can be just something really small that does make a big difference to the accessibility of the space. Well, I think we're really fortunate as athletes that we develop a lot of skills that help us be really good athletes, but they transfer across to being really good employees as well. So things like time management, being able to balance a number of tasks. If you spend your life balancing training and allocating the appropriate amount of time to that, and your work as well, I think that we become really organised. And so I think that's a really good trait of any employee. I think that as athletes, we learn to goal set, and I think that helps us really work well as part of a team to manage tasks that are coming up, or whether it be projects that are on the go. We can set timeframes. We're used to working to those kind of timeframes and to those kind of deadlines, things like that. We do that all the time as athletes. So I think that's another one. And I think the biggest one for me is that we're really, well-versed in being able to take risks and work hard towards a certain goal or a certain aim or a target that's been set by an employer. So I think if you're an employer out there and you're setting, key performance indicators for employees in your organisation, I mean, who better than an athlete to work towards that, right? That's what we do every day, is trying to hit targets and better them, and even go beyond that. So I think they're all traits that make us really good athletes, but they make us really good employees as well. So I think having a Paralympic athlete in an organisation or in a workplace, it does really raise morale within the business. That's something that I've certainly been fortunate to find in my workplace. People really get around that. They love the fact that someone with a disability that they know is trying to go that next step, trying to make themselves better and trying to achieve something really special that would be considered special for anyone, but they really love the fact that you're doing that with a disability. And so I think that it really, challenges perceptions for a lot of people. That's a really big one that I've found. But I think as well, it really makes them come together, rally behind you, and I think question their own life and what they're doing and what they're aiming for. And so I think as an organization, it kind of almost challenges everybody to be that little bit better and to look for something that they want to achieve in their own lives and find a purpose for themselves. So that's something that I've really found, is that everyone just loves getting around an athlete and thinking, wow, they're going to this event this weekend and wonder how they went and things like that. And people come up to you all the time and go, oh wow, I hadn't gone to the gym the other day and I was thinking about you doing it, and I've now been to the gym for the first time in 10 years, because they think that if you can do it, then why can't they? So I think it's, I guess, a reflection of their own lives in that way. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I was really terrified to try and enter the workplace, in particular upon my relocation. I obviously had an employer and a workplace before my relocation. So then to leave a secure employment in a secure location to then relocate to another area and try and find another employer, that was something that I really was scared about and was not sure whether I was going to get another employer that would take me on. So I'm really fortunate to have found that. But I think, it's something that people shouldn't have to be worried about whether they can get a job with a disability. It should be the same as anybody else. Apply for a job, and based on your skill set, whether you're eligible for the position or not. Am I eligible for the position? I was qualified for the position that I'm in now, but I was worried that I was not going to get the job based on whether they think it was going to be the too hard basket, or whether they thought that the position was not going to be accessible, or whether they were concerned about there being other barriers or obstacles once I started in the employment that they weren't aware of. So I think it's something that we really need to just normalise, having people with a disability in general in a workplace, in particular athletes, because I do think they have a lot to add to an organisation if someone's willing to go the extra mile and put them on. I think as well, another takeaway would just be, have a conversation with someone about what they require. That's a big one, and it seems like such a simple thing, but it does often get missed. As athletes, we are really good at identifying our needs and what we actually need to succeed. So I think it's a big takeaway for employers to be able to just have a conversation with somebody and ask them what they need. I'm more than confident that they're going to be able to tell you what they need to succeed in a business. And who knows, it may be something really simple. As we've talked about earlier, there's really simple things that an employer can do to make the workplace more accessible, or make it so that the employee then can succeed. So it doesn't have to be a complicated thing, but sometimes just all it takes is a conversation to be able to get that set up and really, I guess, set everybody up for success, both the organisation and the employee.